Hello and welcome to the morning reflection. For those who don't know me, my name is William Brown. This morning I will reflect on Luke chapter 20 verse 45 to chapter 21 verse 4. First, I'll read the part of the reading I'll be focusing on, which is the story of the widow's mite. In the hearing of all the people he said to the disciples, "Beware of the scribes, who like to walk around in long robes and love to be greeted with respect in the marketplaces, and to have the best seats in the synagogues and places of honour at banquets. They devour widows' houses, and for the sake of appearance they say long prayers. They will receive the greater commendation." He looked up and saw the rich people putting their gifts into the treasury. He also saw a poor widow put in 2 small copper coins. He said, "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more in than all of them, for all of them had contributed out of their abundance. But she, out of her poverty, has put in all she has to live on." I'll start with some context. In Hebrew society, widows were supposed to be cared for by their father-in-law, but this was often not the case, with widows being abandoned and left destitute. This was such a problem that the early church in the Acts of the Apostles made looking after widows a priority. Further, it is important to know that the treasury did not fund the temple activities, but was used specifically for supporting the poor in society. Jesus says that this poor widow has put in more than all of them. Her gift of 2 small copper coins is tiny in value, like 2 10 pieces nowadays, but is huge for her. She gave all that she had to live on, and for a destitute widow without any support or care, that was life-threatening. In comparison, even a large donation from a rich person would not have been the same or as serious. In this reading, Jesus is trying to point out to the scribes the error in their system. By the treasury swallowing up what little resources the poor people had, the system was corrupt and they were being extremely greedy. And in turn, Jesus was showing how the widow has a better spirit, one of radical generosity, trusting in God that her basic needs will be met. The widow was donating to the treasury to support others in her own position. In fact, she was probably moved to give, as she knew exactly what it meant to be poor, and by doing so showed a love for others, which was from God. This then takes us into what it means for us today, what is important and relevant for us. The story of the widow's mite gives us many messages to think about. Jesus gives us a message of how we should not be like the scribes, allowing corrupt systems to continue and watching while those who should be supported by our wealth go hungry and struggle to support themselves and those they love. Jesus also takes us beyond the actual value of a gift. What matters when gifting is the proportion of your wealth that you give. Especially in this time, the message of the widow's mite also transcends monetary gifts into other sorts of gifts that we can give to others, specifically the gift of our time. I have been inspired by stories through the pandemic of those who have given so much of their time to support others, and especially the modern examples of Jesus' widows who have both been working on the front line and then given whatever free time they have left in volunteering. Obviously, some people are busier and others have more time to spare, but we need to be mindful of ensuring that we don't behave like the scribes, taking time from others unnecessarily or using ours inappropriately. You could try thinking about how you use your time. Are you giving your time to God through prayer and meditation? Are you giving time to look after yourself through exercise and rest? Are you giving time to love others by doing something for them? Even a phone call shows you care. I'll end with a real-life story my mum shared with me recently. A volunteer chaplain working in the hospital was at home a few weeks ago and then she contracted the coronavirus. Despite feeling very ill, she would still phone her friends in the volunteer team to check on them and to give them support. I believe her gift of time is more valuable in the eyes of God, as she had already given so much of her time and was struggling with the effects caused by the infection. That ends my meditation. I hope you found it useful and informative. And God bless and stay safe.